It's a disaster. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 114 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and don't you feel like everything lately, it's a disaster? If you look around, you only hear about bad news, you only hear about problems, you only see the things that you care being either ridiculized or they don't take and they don't receive the praise that they should. Nobody is looking to improve, and so on and so forth. Well, it's not true. Why? Well, let me explain. Before we start, if you like the concept and if you like the idea of the Shower Podcast, it's always welcome if you can leave a like or even better, a subscribe. It's just one click, but it helps the channel a lot. And it helps me definitely going. What do I mean by it's not true? Because all this discussion is connected to the previous one. It was one of the other speeches that were presented during this Toastmaster session. And the person that made this speech tried a bit to make us go away from the emotional sphere when it comes down to news, to information, to what our future looks like, and start being a bit more, let's say, concrete and objective about the things that are happening around us. What do I mean? If we look at the data and if we look at, the reasons why problem exists and how things are looking for us, we should be very grateful. Life expectancy has increased. The main reasons that people, die of are just cancer and heart diseases, which are strictly also correlated most of the times with age. Not for the first category, unfortunately, but, the trend is definitely, going down. For the most amount of people, we've been the wealthiest that we've ever been. And overall, we should just be grateful. There are, of course, still wars happening around the world, but their size and impact has let's say, reduced drastically. And therefore, if we asked somebody that was living 100 years ago, do you want to swap lives? They will always say yes, or at least most of the people will. But the problem and one of the things that usually, because, the discussion usually ends here. There's the people that are just emotional and just base their perspective on the information that they gather, which, again, if you open any TV channel and you put on the news, is just murders, problems, disasters, explosions. It's a tragedy. Every day is the worst day in the world. And, you might get one good information out of that. It's normal. It's the way that they make clicks and the way that make people, look into the TV. We are attracted, even if we don't like it. There is an intrinsic attraction to disaster. There is the famous example where if you are driving on the road and you see an accident, you will always turn and look, even if you know that what you're gonna see is not pleasant. It's just something that it's within us. We cannot really control it. And on the other sphere, there's the ones that, as the person that was making the speech, saying, here's the data, here's the facts, and this is not true. What should you believe? Your emotions or the data? I think that the truth, as always, I don't want to be, obvious, of course, but the truth is in the middle. But I would like to explore and explain to you why I believe it's in the middle. What I mean is that the reason why we have such a strong feeling and we have such a bad overall perception of future is because through evolution and because of all the positive aspects that I listed before, our perception has evolved. What I mean by that is the problems that affect us, the things that we care about, have in a certain way evolved. And they have evolved into things that are much more complicated to solve. When you ask somebody, if they see a bright future in front of them, most likely they will tell you no, not because they don't think that they're not gonna live enough. They don't say that because they are afraid of this current situation in which they live in, but mostly because the things that they deeply care about, they don't see a solution to those things. I can kind of understand it. If you look at the big picture, if you look at problems as climate change, if you look at the overall satisfaction and happiness of people, if you look and if you analyze these topics that are a bit more ephemeral, they're not stuff that you can actually grab and understand. It's not data, and that's, connecting it to what I was saying before. The reason why it's not so easy to just accept the data and say, well, this is it, you have to look at it and accept it. It's very easy also to say, yes, there's that, but do those things actually improve my life in a way that I can feel? Because sure, I'm not gonna die of a random disease. Sure, I might be slightly healthier number-wise compared to 100 years ago, but do those things actually mean something? Can I do something with them? And usually, unfortunately, the response is no. You might be wealthier, but you can actually do less. There is the big problem, for example, with housing in most countries. Even if I do have more money, the things that I can buy and the things that I can actually get with this money is way inferior. Or, again, to get to the point, even if technically I can buy more, the things that I can buy are much more meaningless compared to what I could have gotten with less money in the past. And finally, there is also the discussion of choices. We live in an age where choices are basically infinite. Of course, we always exclude those situations in which you are pretty much forced to do something. Again, in that discussion, I don't think that people really care about the shower podcast. It's already difficult to care on a normal basis. And again, as I was saying before, their priorities are completely different. But for a normal person living a normal life, you are presented with so many options that you feel overwhelmed. And most often than not, also through the exposure to social media, you just look at others doing things that potentially you could do, but at the same time, there is so many things that are not being clearly said. There are so many things that already happened for those people to even be enabled to be in that position, that you just telling yourself you're not trying enough, or you're not doing your best, or you should look into this next thing is not really true. What really matters is, can I identify and can I find something that brings me to a level in which, even if I never make it, even if I will never break through, will I still be able to live my life? Some people say yes, some people unfortunately say no. And it comes back to the original question. Is it a disaster? For the people that will say no, they will tell you yes, because indeed, it kind of is a disaster. If you do not feel that you will ever have a moment in your life in which you will feel at peace, it's hard just to say, don't worry, and go on. Whereas for the others that have kind of found their, let's say, their comfortable place and are looking to do more, but even if things don't go their way, they will still be able to live their life. They will say, well, I don't think it's fair to say it's a disaster because of this, this, and that. In the end, it's all a game of opportunities, and we all do share, let's say, the same options. If we are put in in a similar condition, it also comes down to luck. It also comes down to experience, and it also comes down in the end to how much do you actually have to do in order to improve the situation. It's complicated, and sometimes you'll just have to deal with what you're given. And to conclude today's episode, it is okay to see it both ways. Just make sure not to close yourself in the bubble of disaster, because once you start going down the rabbit hole, even if there was a chance, you're clearly killing it, because if you keep seeing black around yourself, it's very hard to say, yes, it's, there is bright out there. Having said that, that was enough for today's episode. A bit of a rambling episode, I have to confess. But as usual, it's also stuff that I try to process for myself, and I try to make it a bit more also relatable for you. Having said that, thank you very much for listening, and what else to say? Stay consistent, stay resilient, and see you at the next one.